Joining us now is Khalil Ramal. He is the Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister of Citizenship and Immigration, Ontario, and the MPP for London Fanshawe. It's nice to have you back here.
It's a pleasure and honor to be with you here, Steve.
Last time we were with each other was in your hometown in London.
Yes, it was a great show back then, and I believe many Londoners participated in that show, and they loved it.
I'm glad to hear it.
Hopefully you come back to London again.
Well, I think we have some other places we got to go before we come back to London. But okay, start lobbying. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Here's the first question. Everybody, I guess people who follow politics know that Prime Minister Harper has tasked Jason Kenney with going out there and building bridges between the Conservative Party and various ethnic groups in the country. And I gather Premier McGuinty has tasked you with doing somewhat of the same thing. Can you give us a sense of what your responsibilities are in that regard?
Well, you know, I believe strongly in multiculturalism and diversity in the province of Ontario. And as you know, our party, reflect the image of the province of Ontario. We have members from different background, from India, from Pakistan, from Iran, from Middle East, from Europe, from everywhere. So we have the ability to reach out to the majority of the multicultural community in the province of Ontario.
And is that your job, to lead that effort?
Well, it's not. Well, I mean, I'm a PA for the Ministry of Citizenship and Immigration. We have a minister, the Honorable Eric Hoskin, and I work with him in this regard. Plus, I'm the chair of Multicultural Caucus, which I work with my colleagues from different parts of the province of Ontario to see how we can enrich and make the multicultural society in Ontario feel at home, feel they belong to this province, and they have a part of ownership of this province of Ontario.
Let me tell you here on camera what I remember telling you when we did the program in London off camera. And that was, when I was a kid, London, Ontario was probably the most white-bread city in all of Ontario.
Yes.
You know, and you're right. I mean, you represent Fanshawe, and yes, it's not like that anymore. You've got people from all over Latin America in your riding. You yourself were born in Lebanon.
Yes.
You know, when I was a kid, to think that somebody from Lebanon was going to be the MPP from some riding in London, it just was not on. What's it like to be an elected official today, engaging with so many different diverse groups out of that city?
Well, you know what, I'm privileged and honored to get that chance and to represent London Fanshawe at Queen's Park. And let me tell you, London is a diverse city, and people from different parts of the globe come to London and they enjoy living in London, and they work together and to create a strong and vibrant city. So, you know, I have the privilege and honor in a regular basis connect with all the multicultural community, with the Greek, with the Italian, with the Portuguese, with the Lebanese, with everyone.
Is your job as a provincial official different from those of the federal government? Because it seems, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about this, but it seems that, you know, Citizenship and Immigration Canada has a more direct and perhaps broader role with immigrants in this country than a provincial ministry would. Am I right about that?
Yeah, well, they have a different role. Basically, the federal deal with admission of the people from different planets to come to Canada, and also our role to make sure that people who live in Ontario, they are comfortable, they're able to practice their skills. We create, for instance, the Bridge program, Connect program to help the newcomers and to find a job for themselves and provide for themselves and their families, and also to support our economy in the province of Ontario. And also our job to make sure all the people who come from different parts of the globe integrate in the system. Because in the end, multiculturalism is about integration. We don't want people live in isolations and ghettos. This is not the ideal multicultural society we're looking for. We're looking for integration. Every person who lives in Ontario feel he has a part ownership, like part owner of the province.
So let me ask the political question then, which is, of course, Jason Kenney's doing his thing federally to make the case that the Conservative Party is the more logical place, the more logical home for new Canadians and new immigrants to come to. We're going to be in the middle of an election campaign in this province pretty soon, where you and the Conservatives and the New Democrats and the Greens and some of the other smaller parties are going to be making the case as well. Why do you think the Liberal Party of Ontario is a better fit for support than the other parties?
First, look at the caucus. Our caucus is a diverse caucus. And look about what we did in the past 7.5 years. We reach out to all the communities across the province of Ontario. We invite all this community to be part of this province of Ontario. We trying to support the majority and basically every corner of the province of Ontario to feel comfortable, integrated. We did a lot of program to allow people to fit and integrate in the province of Ontario. For instance, you remember Bill 124, the foreign trained professionals. We worked very hard to work with the regulators in the province of Ontario to allow many Ontarians who are newcomers who come from different parts of the globe with educations, with skills, to be able to be accredited in the province of Ontario, to be able to practice, to find a job in the province of
Ontario. And yet there's still too many doctors and engineers driving taxis.
I want to tell you something. It's not easy answer for all these things. It's a complex issue. And as you know, we permit to come to Ontario on a regular basis about 15,000 engineers in this regard. And we graduate from our colleges and universities about 5,000. So 15 and 5,000 would be 20,000 engineers in the province of Ontario. I don't think so. The economy of 13 million would be able to absorb all these numbers. But anyway, we have a lot of progress in this field. We've been working with the Association of Engineers in the province of Ontario. They're very, accessible, and they're doing their best to accommodate as many as they can. And the same things with doctors. You know what? We open it up from 30 doctors, 14 doctors to 200. We're still working with the college and universities to open more and change our prestige in the province of Ontario.
I know you feel you've got a good news story to tell when it comes to why new immigrants in particular, ought to be supporting the Liberal Party, but I'm sure you saw the poll that came out recently, which showed that here in the city of Toronto, in the capital city of Ontario, the Liberals have only a 4-point lead on the Conservatives, 36-32. And I wonder whether you guys are concerned that that's an indication that you are losing your grip on what has traditionally been a very supportive part of the population to your party.
Well, Steve, we don't, claim ownership of any community or any multicultural community in the province of Ontario. We want to create a policy for all the people who live in the province of Ontario, including the newcomers and the oldcomers and all the people who came 100 years ago. So our policy to do the right things for Ontarians, to create a province accessible for all, to create a policy, especially the education system. As you know, last election, we fought very hard the funding for private schools because we thought strongly we don't want kids to
you fought
live in
against
this,
it.
100%,
Yeah.
because we believe strongly, people, all the kids, early learning is important. When the kids come from different backgrounds, learn together, when they grow up, they kind of work together. They're going to create a good province, a stable province, a province understand each other. A province knows about other people, not, isolations. We don't want isolation.
So why aren't your numbers better in Toronto?
Well, I mean, it's no doubt about it. I believe the federal government, the provincial government, Conservative Party benefit a little bit from the federal government. And, let's go face it, Jason Kenney, the Minister of Immigration of Canada, trying to use his government, his influence, his power, his money to influence multicultural community. And then I believe to a certain degree, the provincial Conservative Party benefited a little bit from that.
Well, here's the man. He was on this program, I guess it was, we're almost about a year and a half ago now. And I asked him about that because he was hip deep in his efforts to increase the links between the Conservative Party of Canada and the new Canadians of this country. And here was part of the pitch he made as to why he thought that was a good connection. Michael, if you would, roll tape.
Most new Canadians are pretty conservative in their values. Fiscally conservative, they're entrepreneurs and hardworking people who don't like high taxes or burdensome red tape. Culturally conservative in terms of their devotion to family and traditional faith-based institutions, and very appreciative of democracy and democratic reform.
So that's part of his pitch. He says there's a more logical connection between Conservatives and new Canadians than there would be between Liberals and new Canadians for the reasons he just mentioned. Is he right about that?
I don't think so, because I believe the people who come to Canada, they come because they believe Canada, it's a liberal society, it's a secular society, not sectarian society. Like, for instance, I came to Canada looking for liberalism and democracy and freedom. And I was looking for, different than liberalism. And that's why people escape the dictatorship, escape
You came from Lebanon.
I came from Lebanon.
When did you come?
I came in 1989.
And you were how old at the time?
Was about 27 years old, yeah.
So you were looking for what at the time?
I was looking for a peace and tranquility. I was looking for, liberal society can embrace me and deal with me, not on the basis of my religious or sect, So that's why I escaped the sectarian society, which Lebanon still exists right now, and looking for peace and tranquility.
But would you acknowledge that there is a sizable chunk of the new Canadian community, if I can put it that way, that likes social conservative values and likes free enterprise and likes individual freedom and follows that conservative credo a little more than it does the Liberal one?
Well, I want to tell you something. We as a Liberal Party in Ontario, we believe strongly in the people who comes to this nation. And people come because they escaping a war, escaping dictatorship, escaping the sectarian regimes everywhere on the planet. They come to Ontario to enjoy the freedom. And so that's why I came. That's why many people, come to this province. And I think when I came, I enjoyed the freedom and the democracy and the tranquility, which I didn't have when I was in Lebanon. So that's why I think majority of the immigrants who I talk to on the street, they don't like political division politics. They like stability. They like people approach them not because they want their votes. Because they.
And again, I understand that polls are snapshots. I get that these things, they go up and they go down, but you have to acknowledge, I think, that for the last many, many months in a row, the Conservative Party has made significant inroads with immigrant communities, and the numbers show it. And they are targeting seats in the 416 that they think they can win next time, both federally and provincially, because they say there is a more logical fit between the Conservative ideology, as represented in their party, and New Canadians. So you're not sold, I know, obviously.
No, I want to tell you something very important. When we look at the immigrant community or the multicultural community, we don't calculate that in our equations, like we're gonna gain them to give us more votes, because we believe in
that. Come on, everyone does that.
We believe in multiculturalism. We believe in and everyone should live in peace and tranquility. Every man and woman in the province of Ontario should have a job. We believe those families should have a chance to send their kids to school. They have a school for them. We open a kindergarten before and after school to allow many women and family to be able to obtain their jobs. That's why we look at the multicultural community.
That. But you're not here to tell me the Liberal Party doesn't play ethnic politics the way the Conservative Party does. I mean, everybody in politics is trying to make inroads to ethnic communities, right? Everybody does it.
But I want to tell you, Steve, look at our caucus. We don't have to play that game.
I agree.
Because we have connections.
All over. I agree.
Yes, we have connection with every group in the province of Ontario. It's natural for us to connect, and the people connect to us because they can see us. We're not using them for votes or election. We believe in them. We give them the chance to be sitting around the cabinet table, to be in Queen's Park, to voice their concern, to be a great Ontarians. That's what we believe. That's our belief. And we not just talk about it. We act and look at our caucus, and you can see it. We don't have to.
Tell me about this as well. Jason Kenney also said one of the reasons that the Conservative Party has been able to build better support among ethnic communities in this country is that they have somehow managed to overcome what he believed was an attempt by Liberals over the years to stereotype Conservatives as being, for example, anti-immigrant and more for, old Canada, more for old, white, English, British Canada. Have Liberals been engaged in that for decades in this country?
I don't believe so. I never heard anyone talking to me about it, and nobody attracted me to be a Liberal in this basis. I became Liberal because I felt that I'm a Liberal. That's why I came to Canada. And that's why thousands of people come from around the planet to come to Canada because they're Liberal. They want to feel like free. Women and men and old and young, all they want to start a new life. And you know what, Steve, it's a great example. If people from different parts of the globe come to this city of Toronto, come to Ontario, they feel comfortable. They can express their feelings. They can express their ideology. They can practice their religions without any fears. This the environment we create as a Liberal for many years.
Has the Liberal Party taken for granted the immigrant vote over the years?
Never, ever. We don't take anyone for granted. We work with everyone. As I said to you, we work for the mainstream community and the multicultural community, part of the mainstream community. We don't want to treat them different than others. When we create a policy, we create a policy for all Ontarians. And in the visions, the multicultural community part of our vision,
Have you
part
met
of our
Jason Kenney?
strategy. I met him in various event, but I never sat and talked to him.
Yeah, you ever ask him for some tips on how he's managed to do as well as he has?
Well, you know what? We are natural. We don't treat people as a market. Like the Conservative Party, when they talk about the multicultural community or certain community, they call it a market. Asian market, Chinese market, Middle Eastern market. We called the multicultural community people, Ontarians, who came to this province to utilize their skills and to work with the rest of the community to maintain our prosperity, to build a better future for themselves and for the rest of the province.
Okay, Khalil Ramal, it's good of you to join us at TVO tonight. Thanks very much for coming in.
So thank you very much, Steve, for giving me this opportunity.